Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Impractical Machinists podcast. My name is Patrick. You can find me on Instagram as @JobShopperTN.
I'm Cameron from Machining is Cool. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we'd appreciate a 5-star review.
I'm Bradley with Marvel Machining. Also, if you're on YouTube, be sure to give us a like and subscribe to the Practical Machinist YouTube channel.
On this episode, Brad's going to recap his adventure to EASTEC last week. We're all going to talk about current events in our shops. We're going to answer some questions that we got from Cam's Instagram. And at the end, we're unveiling a new segment to the podcast. How we doing, fellas?
Good.
Pretty good.
Awesome. Brad, looked like you had a lot of fun up there at in EASTEC up there with Ian.
Oh, yeah. It's always fun. It's always kills my liver. But good times.
And why is that?
Because Ian forces me to drink too much. I have to keep up with him. That was good. I did my first live video. That was nerve-wracking, but got through it with, was it Kennametal? Yeah, the first one was Kennametal.
Nice.
Yeah, that was good.
I was hoping y'all would catch on that I was being a smart ass whenever I
The Bridgeport?
said I want to say Bridgeport.
Oh, I knew. But I was like, let's find a Bridgeport. Let's see if there's
Yeah.
one here.
You said that, and Ian was like, "Oh yeah, I don't know if there's a Bridgeport around here." Like, was professional about it.
Well, of course he was.
I think that's the first time I've ever gone live like that.
Really?
That was
Pat's gone live before.
yeah.
Yeah, for like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Instagram Live. Instagram Live is different from YouTube Live, believe me.
Yeah. But man, maybe we should share my first live video. Is the Kennametal, they got a contest going on with Practical Machinists we could share. They got it posted on Instagram and LinkedIn. I think it's $500 worth of tools, toolbox, not a toolbox, but a box of tools. And you have till July or June 12th to enter. So if you're still interested in entering that, hop on.
I entered.
Did you?
Yeah, I'd love to win $500 worth of Kennametal.
Yeah, there's some swag stuff in there too. There was like a coffee cup, Shop Floor Coffee had a bag in there too.
Nice. Saw that.
Yeah.
That's actually really good coffee. I know we did like a little plug for it at one point, but I meant it. Like, that was probably some of the best coffee I've ever had.
I don't drink coffee, so I don't know.
Yeah.
My wife caught that. I said that in live video. Every machinist needs their coffee, and she texts me. She's like, "You don't even drink coffee." Well, like, I know, but most do. I'm like
You're definitely the exception.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot to make coffee this morning, and I was a little bummed out. What else did you see at EASTEC? All the exciting stuff.
All the exciting stuff. Different tool. It always amazes me how many small tooling vendors there are out there that are making tooling like that I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
I'm sure in their local area they're pretty popular. So, and then I don't know, met a lot of people that I've emailed with, different companies. Putting a face to a name is always interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff is cool to watch just run.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Stuff like I could sit there with my forehead on the glass in the door and just stare at it. Just that's cool. Like, and I could do the same thing over and over, and I could just watch.
Yeah. I mean, I do the same thing at the shop already.
Yep. That's
Like
how
you're staring at a lava lamp, dude. Yeah, I kind of had a moment like that today. I guess we'll get derailed already. I've kind of been running just busy work for the last little bit. We've been waiting on material to come in. So I ended up making this thing. I'll show it off for the folks on YouTube. It's an adapter plate. Whatever, Cam. No one asked you.
Okay, for listening.
Everybody in the comments say, tell them to try that in stainless.
No. But yeah, adapter plate for a 3-jaw chuck to go on the 5th axis.
Nice.
But yeah, this is the first time I've cut a sizable amount of aluminum since I left Galleons 3 months ago. So I enjoyed it because I'm getting to actually run fast and make chips and watch things go bang or whatever it is that one guy says. But that yeah. But yeah, that was fun, and I kind of had that moment. I was just sitting there watching it like, this is cool. Machining is cool. You're right, Cam.
It is. That's what I've heard. 3D printing sucks, though.
I I've gotten a lot of mileage out of our printer this week too.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
No, I've been printing all kinds of shit.
Why is it? Jeff asked us this the other day in our chat. Why is it that 3D printers are super easy to use, but paper printers, 2D printers are garbage?
I don't understand the whole like the paper printer thing. Why is that so hard? Why is it still such a pain in the ass just to get a printer to work? I just bought a new printer at the house because ours just decided to stop working out of nowhere. And it didn't give you a clear error, it just gave you some random code. You can't find the answer anywhere you look. So it's like, well, I have to say, I office spaced that thing off the back porch.
So what have you been up to, Cam?
Just machine shopping.
Machine shopping.
Busy everywhere. Busy at work, busy at home.
Mm-hmm.
Do all kinds of stuff. I got 19 chickens now, so granted they're not a lot of work, but building a coop and building a run
Wow.
is. So
Nice.
yeah. But so that's been pretty cool.
You're
Think
going down the homesteader rabbit hole. Be careful.
I guess so. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I like eggs. We eat a lot of eggs, and
Mm-hmm.
tired of paying like $8 for a dozen. So figured I'd pay.
Yeah.
It'll cost me about $36 a month in feed. But yeah, so I've been machine shopping all day at work, and then coming home and building chicken runs for the last like week and a half. Every evening, get down at like 8:00. So
Yeah, fortunately, I guess in a way, I haven't been real busy here, but I'm going home working in the garden all evening, or I'm working on the house build all evening.
yeah,
So yeah, I know what you mean there. It's hectic.
but yeah, so that's busy everywhere. But yeah, work at the shop's been picking up a little bit.
Mhm.
We're kind of at the point where it's enough work to where we stay busy most of the time with it, but there's still enough time to kind of squeeze in some side projects that we've needed to get done around the shop. But it's enough work to pay the bills, and
Mhm.
have a little left over. So
That's nice.
it's still been kind of a nice break. We've been slow for majority of the year,
Mhm.
slowish, but we're pretty okay with it because we've been balls to the wall for like 4 years straight,
Right.
working every Friday. We do 410s Monday to Thursday, and we've been 510s essentially for like 3 years. But yeah, so and then right now I'm pretty much the only grown up at the shop. Sam's out dealing with some family stuff, and so I've been, answering all the questions, doing all the things. But it's been good. We got good guys, so
That's good, man.
can't complain.
That goes a long way. I mean, you have to, as a manager or owner, I mean, you kind of have to be able to get to where you trust the people you've got. If you can't, you either need to evaluate yourself or find other people.
Yeah. No, I've definitely proven myself to Sam, and he trusts me. I think 100% at this point. He doesn't question anything I do. He just, if I do screw something up, he's like, "Hey, that was supposed to be like this, not that." That's pretty much it. But so yeah, I manage the guys at the shop, but I'm not battling egos. I'm not battling bad attitudes. So we're good. I can talk to the guys and be like, "Hey, here's what we got to get done this week. I know it's a lot, but we got to make it happen." They're like, "All right, cool. Sounds good. Give us our lists." So that's what I do, and we make it happen.
That's great, man.
Yep.
Have you ever pursued, I think a few episodes ago, you were talking about wanting to do like quarterly reviews or something like that. Have you ever pursued that?
Yeah. So I've got basically I made templates for it.
Mhm.
And I started inputting, information into them for the first review I'm going to do. But I haven't actually done a review yet, but I'm almost there.
You want to
Mhm.
practice one?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brad, your life sucked. You're just shorter than I expected you to be.
Damn.
Yeah.
No raise?
I thought you were at least going to be taller than Kenny. On the
Oh,
bright
no.
side, you got cool tattoos and the beard looks good. A little awkward on camera, but that's okay.
I am taller than Kenny.
First of all.
Well, I mean, a tree stump's taller than Kenny.
Yeah, that garden gnome's taller than Kenny.
Sorry, Kenny. We love you. Well, it's good work picking up, Cam. I think it's going to here as well. The owner was telling me, us the other day, that he went several weeks, maybe a couple months, without hardly seeing any RFQs at all, for either just machining work or the tube bending work that the company's really there for. And he said a lot of it was just because of sort of the uncertain nature of things right now. Apparently, it seems like companies are starting to open up and let some money out. It almost reminds you of like pre-election type stuff, which is strange because, I mean, that's been over for 6 or 7 months now. So, I don't know. It's weird, but hopefully things will pick up. I know we have a few cool jobs in the work that I'm looking forward to sharing, but just got to get material and get everything lined up right. So
Yeah, good material. It's always fun.
Brad has been in a bit of a pickle as of late.
Been in a pickle, huh? Yeah, it's
Looks like a pickle.
probably my most stressful job I've ever ran that I can think of. I mean, my horizontal, I mean, it's off right now because we're recording this. You guys made me stop it. Had to off stop it and ended on time. But it's been running 24/7 for about 3 weeks now. Saturday, Sunday, it doesn't stop running. Across the pallets, it's like a 12-hour cycle, so I can time it perfectly to swap parts at 9, 10 o'clock, and it runs. By the time I get in the shop, it's ready to be swapped again. But it's been a headache. This job was actually at another shop that canceled the PO, and the customer is still expecting the same lead time, due date, which it's already passed. It was damn near impossible to hit. But last Friday, I had a driver sit in my driveway that was taking parts down to finishing, bringing them back to me, bringing parts down there. We were paying to expedite finishing, so he was waiting at the finishing company for these parts to get finished just to drive them back to me. It was a nightmare. Friday night, they asked me to fly out some parts up to California to hand deliver them because they needed them Saturday morning that bad. But they ended up finding, which I've never heard of this, a company that actually offers a hand carry service. They will get on a plane for you and deliver what you need delivered. So I had a car sitting out here Friday night at like 9 o'clock waiting for me to give him the parts. And he brought it to the airport. They hopped on a plane and delivered them Saturday morning. It's pretty interesting.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
People need their parts, I guess. And, I get these jobs that are always a rush. And, my machines run great 99% of the time, but it's shit like this where it's like something happens and then something else happens. I think it was 2 Thursdays ago, my coolant pump went. I came out here, there was no coolant. So I ended up pulling one off my lathe because I don't run my lathe and there's no coolant in it anyway. So I swapped it, got it up and running. That was Thursday. And then Thursday evening, the machine alarmed out, said low air, went air compressor room, and the circuit breaker popped. I flipped it back on, it was running just fine. About 2 hours later, it happened again. I was like, what the fuck? And then I tried to swap the circuit breaker, ran fine overnight. Friday, it was popping again, but I was out here, so I kept it going. And then I ended up finding out that my electric motor was bad. And that, so I luckily I found one. I was going to go just buy an air compressor from Home Depot just to get it running for the weekend. But I found a guy about 40 minutes from me that had my exact electric motor, brand new on the pallet. So I was able to pick that up Saturday, swap that out, got it up and running. It was a blast.
How do you always just have shit you need around you all the
I
time?
know.
That was pure luck. Like it was the exact motor. Like all I had to do was pull the pulley off and put it on, and the mounting and everything was perfect.
You
Fired
lucky
up.
dog.
Yeah. I actually had my kid go pick it up because we were at a baseball tournament north, and this was south of me. So I had him go pick it up. He threw it in his trunk. Him and his girlfriend went and picked it up for me.
Nice.
Paid some dude Venmo before he even got there. I was like, shit, I hope he doesn't tell me he lost.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah.
Mm.
It's been fun. And it's not going to stop. I think I got about 2 or 3 more weeks. These parts have a shit ton of inserts, key inserts, I got to put in. I think I got probably 6,000 inserts total. And they have to have a 2-part epoxy on them before they get installed too. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
So
I mean, assuming there's no other major problems from here until you get done, will it be worth it?
right now I say no. But when I get paid, I'll say yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Feels like that sometimes. You're in the middle of it and you're like, fuck this.
Yep. And it would be so
I'm
bad.
done with this. I don't even care if I get paid or not. I just want to be done.
Yep.
And then at the end, you're like, well, all right.
Yeah.
I guess it was kind of worth it.
It wouldn't be so bad, but you always get some customers that I don't think they really understand real life machining. They sit behind a computer and they put numbers in an Excel sheet and they just think that's what it is. Like, hey, you told me a month ago before you got the job you could do it in 3 hours. And now it's taking you 4.5. Why? Why are you failing? Motherfucker, I'm not failing. I gave you my best guess.
Right.
And it is what it is. And then they try to hold you to that. They're like, well, now you're like 6 parts behind in 2 days. It's like, well, no, I'm not really 6 part behind. Like, I just gave you my best guess. And it's not my problem. You don't understand. Things change.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the only true way to give a good number there is to actually machine one.
Yep.
And proof it out and then run another and see what your cycle time is.
Yep. And that was the other thing that was a pain in the ass. I didn't even get the opportunity to prove one out through all ops because they were in such a rush to get it that I just ran through op 1 of all of them, op 2, and then started sending stuff to finish in. So now I'm getting them back and it's like, oh shit, I should have left a little bit of surface on this part. So now I'm adjusting, playing within tolerance.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Trying to work everything in.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I did fire up my probe for this machine though. So
Oh, heck yeah.
No, we haven't gotten the probe update yet.
No, that's been great. I don't know why I haven't done that a lot sooner.
We tried to tell you.
The tool break, I think the tool break part is the best part. If you know me, I'll hit cycle start on a part I've never ran before and I'll leave for 6 hours. And I mean, I don't really worry about it. In my head, it's like, well, if I break 6 tools and I'm out a piece of material, it is what it is.
Right.
It's happened once or twice in a few years, but 99% of the time it's good. But now it's like tool break detection is like having somebody standing there waiting for the op stop.
Right.
Like I'll leave, I'll go to bed and I won't even think about it.
As long as the machine doesn't crash too hard.
Yep.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's a game changer, man.
It's nice too whenever you're the only one with like putting hands on anything.
Yeah.
You're not relying on operators and like they forget to touch a tool off or whatever.
Yep. But the probe's been nice too because I had to leave stock on some surfaces to machine after anodize, and being able to come back and probe them surfaces accurately and then machine it. It's very consistent and it's like I trust it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have figured it out without it, but it is nice knowing that it is checking every one, and if there's a variation, it's going to find it.
You don't want to have to be in there manually doing it
every
single time with like a 3D taster or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Little Heimer things.
Yeah.
I don't know how to use them, but
the biggest reason I wanted to get the probe going was they supplied stock, and one of the dimensions was like 30 thou over. And I'm using knife edges and Sarah strips. And sometimes when you clamp them, there's a little bit of variance in there. So I wanted to be able to pick up each one so it knows off center where it's going. So that was kind of the kick in the ass to get it going.
Yeah.
So and of course I crashed one probe. I had to replace it. I had run shot. But that was my fault. That was I'm gonna blame Hawkridge Systems for that one and their bullshit post builder guy. That was their fault.
Man.
I mean, they'll argue I should have watched it, which I probably should have, but at the same time.
What's fucking probing?
Yeah.
There's not much to it.
No. It was after it was done probing and it was going to its rapid clearance height, it was picking up my assembly work coordinate system and trying to go to a rapid plane off of that, which my assembly work coordinate system is bottom center of the tombstone. So I was trying to do a Z1, which is just smash, like Fuck
Yeah. That's just the base of the pallet.
Yeah. And then they
Yeah.
tried to fix it, and I got it back, and then I started checking it, and it was still wrong. Now they're saying it's something deep in the software, and they're trying to fix it, but I just have to watch it now until they can figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, like the probe cycles aren't that complicated, so you can read it over before you start and
Yeah.
tell right away,
Yep.
whether it's going to work or not.
Yeah. And I know it's that rapid plane, so I can just look and it I get the parentheses where it's like probe Y web or whatever. So then I know right before that to look that Z value is what it should be. So, and I broke 2 tips. So I was probing 2 tips.
Dang, you just got to make up for your lifetime of not using probes.
I did it all in 1 week.
You got to break it all in 1 week.
Yeah, buddy.
But if anyone's wondering, the Renaissance's got that replacement program. I mean, it's $1,300 for a new body. It's just a replacement.
Yeah.
Which wasn't bad because when I first crashed it, I looked and it was like $6,000 for it. I'm like, fuck, that sucks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have you put a probe halo on there yet?
I had one on there when it happened. I actually think that made it worse because when it crashed, the halo, like, it went into the body, and the halo is what crashed into the body and ruined it.
Really?
Because it wasn't the probe wasn't on. It was an unprotected move.
Yeah.
So the probe halo actually pivoted up and hit the body and crushed the body.
I mean, do you think the body was going to hit the pallet base anyway?
It probably would have. I don't know.
I guess that's the kicker. That the probe halo really only helps if the probe's on. So yeah, that's yeah. Well,
but I mean, depending on which direction. I mean, if you're moving in Z, and the probe halo hits and it's off, doesn't matter if that thing was there or not.
It's gonna
you're gonna hit the probe body anyways. But yeah, no, I love those probe halos. I got them on every machine.
Yeah.
Do you have a probe on any other machines or just on the horizontal?
Just a horizontal. I'm thinking about Possum. I think ordered some tool break stuff. I think I'm gonna throw one of what he's got on one of my machines. We'll see about the probe though. I'll probably add it at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth it. That's nice.
Yeah. Just make sure to check the run out on the probe and sweep that tool setter pad periodically.
Yep.
We just did all of ours this week, and I think it had been about maybe 3 months, and I think 3 out of the 4 tool setters, the pad was tilted out of tolerance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one machine it was like 1 2/10, and then the rest were all under 1,000, but still they were still out of tolerance.
Yeah.
So just over time, I mean, everything's got pretty low torque on it. So if you're touching off face mills and stuff like that, and they're spinning in reverse, then I think it just kind of over time, or just through repetition, ends up tilting those pads a little bit. So
yeah, I went through.
And I had Ryan from A Plus Machining. He borrowed me his probe. It took Renshaw like 3 weeks to get me a new one. So he borrowed me his, and I'm like, fuck, don't break another one. Don't break another one.
Yeah, I guess because you can just throw that in your machine and it'll just work, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I didn't know that either. I was like, oh shit, am I gonna have to like calibrate I had to calibrate it, but am I gonna have to like connect it somehow? But it just new batteries fired right up.
It's all just
nice
lights.
Yeah.
Freaking laser beams. Yeah. Anytime I have a tool setter out or a probe out of the machine, I feel like I'm carrying the Holy Grail somewhere.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I would have had that thing seat belted in driving from his place years.
He brought it to me. He delivered it to me.
Oh, nice. He's like, I'm not fucking this up.
That's one thing with using Fusion here. It's one thing I've really enjoyed is getting to program probing from CAM, not our CAM, but CAM software. Because I mean we didn't at my last job we had Solid CAM and they never would buy the probing module. It was expensive, don't get me wrong, but
it's not included.
No.
Oh,
and I don't know if with Fusion, I don't know if you have to have the manufacturing extension to have it, but even then that's cheap. But no, I mean the probing module was ridiculous, and I was just using it today. I mean I was machining pockets in this adapter for the pull studs for the 5th axis plate, and I was, we don't have gauge pins, so I don't have a good way to actually measure those bores. I use the probe. I actually have written down where I recalibrated it here recently to a ring gauge and all that. Check run out. And I was really impressed. I mic'd the pin or the pull stud, and it was 6295. And I worked the hole in until the probe gauged it as 6295, and this would just barely begin to feel like a snug fit. Like if I tapped it with a hammer, it would drive in with some contact. And I was like, man, that's because
They're pretty accurate.
oh yeah, because of I'm not gonna say it was a headache, but I mean at my last job, if we wanted to check stuff like that, it was either done by hand, using a pickup routine and then just looking at the macro output, or you had to write it by hand. And not that that's terrible, but it's inconvenient.
Yeah.
So
there's much better ways.
oh yeah. So yeah, I am absolutely
convenient.
loving doing that out of the software.
Now, have you tried using the probe to inspect a dimension and then updating your toolware?
Not through Fusion. I've done that longhand, but I've never
Yeah.
done it out of here.
It's super easy.
I noticed some options for it, like on the last page or something.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much the click of a button and then you got it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you select which toolpath you wanted to update.
Mhm.
And then,
Tool break detection was another one. Of course, I mean, we've got on the Haas anyway. We don't have it on the feeler mill yet. Possum helped us get a spindle probe set up on the feeler mill, which has been really nice. But
And
nothing
that
of tool
Possum
setter.
dude is smart.
He's amazing. He really is.
He FaceTimed me and walked me through some stuff.
Yeah.
So,
He's a wonderful guy.
Yep, he's down for the cause.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We had him on the podcast recently, so if you haven't seen that, go back and check it out. I think it was episode 22.
21.
Might have been 21. So
Yeah.
be sure to check that out. He's a super smart guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just been cool to really, I mean, being able to program your probe from your CAM software and do it safely is huge. I mean, that really helps you get everything you can out of the probing system.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I think it's easier to program the probe than it is to actually programming a toolpath.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Literally, the
I'm
probe
sure-
cycle and click the face you want it to probe, and then you're pretty much done. It defaults like to make sure the probe tip is going to contact at least where it should.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as long as your post processor works.
Right.
That's
Working now. It's
Yeah.
I haven't had a hiccup yet. We'll see. But it is nice to be able to just turn on tool break detection right there too, and not even like think about it. It's just on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess the only thing that I would probably prefer now is just tool break detection default is always on. Like, let me turn it off if I want to turn it off. Otherwise, you're always on.
So, do you have options in CamWorks, like whenever you change settings or parameters or whatever, to just save it as a default?
Yes, but I guess I haven't looked at probing.
Okay.
I should look
So
at that.
on Fusion, there's like the little 3 dots next to everything, and so when you type some shit in or you select an option, you just hit save as user default.
Usually everything in there I can save as a default, but I haven't. I mean, I've only programmed
Yeah.
this part. I
Right.
haven't messed with it much, and I haven't. I got it working right, so I locked all my tool paths, and I don't want to go in and start fucking with anything because I know once I do something, it'll be wrong.
Yeah.
So I got a job. I'm gonna start, I think, next week. I got to rotate it and pick up some bores, so I'm gonna play with it in there too.
nice.
So,
One other thing I wanted to share about just current goings on is I haven't really messed with it much, but my coworker Mark, he's had quite the adventure in working on our horizontal mill. So we have 2 feeler horizontal mills here. They're both the same year. They're actually one number apart on the serial number.
No shit.
Yeah, they were bought together at a place I think in Michigan, sold together to a place in North Carolina, and then we bought them.
They got any rust on them?
Not that I've seen, but they have a lot of carbon fiber powder in them, and that's not good. But anyway, when they bought it before I came here, and they kind of decided to use one as like a backup parts machine because it looked worse, like it was in worse shape than the other. They took the one that looked good and they've used it a little bit, not much. Well, over time, in the time I've been here and whatnot, we've kind of figured out that it, at least on the spindle side of things, it was not the better machine. You could hear a pretty audible tick in the spindle as it was running. Checked it for run out. It had like 1,000s of run out. It was pretty bad. So since we've had some downtime, Mark decided to, and he got another guy here to help him. He actually pulled the spindle out, and then pulled this. Well, I guess he pulled the spindle out of the parts machine to look at it, and then once they pulled that one out, they pulled it out of the horizontal, and it's fairly simple. If everything was made correctly, it's amazing to me because it's simple. It's a cartridge, just like a Haas. You just unbolt everything, pull it out, clean everything, put the new one in, and there you go. Biggest problems I had was there were some lubrication lines that were blocked or just not even hooked up, which kind of makes you think maybe that's why the spindle got toasted to begin with. But I listened to it. They had them both sitting beside each other, and bear in mind they're both supposed to be new spindles that have less than 600 hours on either of them, even though the machines have like 40,000. But one sounds terrible. It sounds like a tire rolling down a gravel road. And then the other sounds just, I mean, it doesn't even make sound. So they put that one in. Run out's perfect. I don't think he's cut anything with it yet, but that was just cool to kind of observe and watch. A few other things we need to do to that machine. It's still got a backlash issue that haven't been able to figure out. It doesn't seem like Backlash Comp is fixing it. So might have to actually go the mechanical route on that one.
So what you're saying is spindles can go out in other machines than Haas.
Oh, absolutely. I tell you what, actually, funny you say that. I've had several people reach out to me that either worked for Feeler or their dealer methods, or they ran feelers. And a lot of people have told me that feeler spindles are fragile.
Oh, yeah.
So it's something that we're going to have to, keep an eye on. We want to move on to some questions?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Cam, if you want to get started, it was your sticker.
Yeah. First one I got here is from Arrow Method on Instagram. He wanted us to talk about machine shop layout, how to fit the most machines in a small space without making it cramped. So as somebody who works at a shop that's a small space, I've definitely got a little bit of experience with that. So for reference, if you haven't seen our shop, which obviously you haven't, it's a 40 by 60 shop, just a rectangle with 6 machines in it. So we've got a Johnford SL300, which is a basic 2-axis lathe with an 8-inch chuck, and then a D&M 4500, D&M 500, BVM 5700, which is a bridge mill, and then a D&M 750L, which is a pretty big size mill. It's 85 by 30 table. And then a Doosan lathe with a 24-inch chuck. So we've got all that in a 40 by 60 shop, as well as everything we need for setting up tools, all our fixturing, soft jaw storage, tool storage, all of that. Outside of that, we have some attachments onto that building where we keep, we have programming and inspection. Programming and inspection, then we have, shipping and receiving separate as well. But anyway, so just in the shop, we have all of our machines, everything we need to set up and run the machines in there. And the best tip that I think I have for that is to model your shop, like actually create a 3D model of the shop, lay out where the doors are. I think typically you can talk to whoever your machine seller is and get the 3D models for your machines. That's what I did. So I actually imported the 3D models of the machines into my shop 3D model. And then I also imported, I even imported stuff like a pallet, right? Because we do big parts, so we're working with pallets all the time. So I downloaded a 3D model of a pallet, 3D model of a forklift. I even downloaded a 3D model of a grown man and put him in there, so you can get a good reference.
Not any size though, right?
Not any size, no normal size human being. Um, and then and then just quickly modeled, like toolboxes and stuff because they're just rectangles, as well as like storage racks and cabinets and whatnot. And then, but I modeled exactly what we actually had as far as the toolboxes and cabinets go. And then if we were going to add something somewhere, I would, model it and play with it. But anyway, so then if you, if you're using mate or joints, whatever it is you're modeling in, basically make it planar so your machine will stick to the floor and you can drag it around and play with it, rotate it, adjust the layout. But anyways, then you can basically adjust your layout all you want to. You can play with it as much as you want to, and you can get a pretty damn good idea what's going to work, what's not going to work, just by doing that. Then another tip for that is make the walls of the shop glass, make their physical material glass, so you can still see them, but you can see through them. When I first started doing it, I was like, damn, like you want to see from a certain angle, so you got to go back and find your walls, turn the walls off, the visibility off, or whatever. So anyway, make them glass, and then that makes that a whole lot easier. But then I've even seen people go as far as 3D printing everything that's in their shop, and then just making like a poster board, or what is that foam board or whatever you use in school. I don't know. I didn't really do school. Like when you do the projects, it's like poster board on the front and back with like a foam layer in the middle.
Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking
Whatever
about.
whatever that shit is. So they built their shop out of that with no roof. And then they would take all the stuff that they 3D printed that's going in their shop, all their machines and stuff. And then they could sit there and physically play with it and adjust the layout. Even 3D printed a forklift and they could drive their little forklift through the shop.
Oh, jeez.
Like you're playing in a sandbox or something. But
Maybe some of these machine tool building companies should have small scale machines they can sell you.
right. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Send me like a kid sized version of these machines, like little plastic toys, so I can play with them. But yeah, so I did that. Even chip conveyors. So that's another consideration is how you're going to get chips in and out, right? So I made sure that they all had chip conveyors in the proper spots. But anyway, so whenever it came down to once we liked the layout, jib cranes as well. If you got cranes, make sure you throw those in there, and then actually set up joints so you can swing it around and see what it's going to hit, see where you could store all your pallets and stuff on the floor you're going to be picking up parts from. So anyways, after figuring all that out, whenever it came down to it, we finalized the layout. We all liked it. I basically hid everything that wasn't a machine and then created a drawing of the shop. Pulled a dimension from each wall to each machine. So, 2 dimensions to each machine to locate them. And then whenever the riggers showed up to move everything, I just gave them that drawing. They were able to just go off of that.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I should do that.
So, and then you can play with it all you want to. So if you're like, I don't know, maybe we should get a new machine. You start thinking about it. Like, but we got a tight shop. So how are we going to make this work? You can get the model of the machine and throw it in there and start playing with different layouts and figure out how you can make it all work before anything happens. That way, whenever the riggers show up, you're not like, well, I measured it out and put tape on the floor and it seemed like it'd be good, but shit, that's pretty tight. Like, I don't know how well it's going to work. But so I even made little models of the carts that we all just the Uline carts that we keep parts on when we're working.
Mm-hmm.
So I had an idea, like, we usually have 1 or 2 of those around a machine. So I'll throw a couple of those in this like cell where these 2 machines will be. And so
I've done about the same thing as you, Cam. I mean, I didn't know at the time that like with Haas at my last job, we only had Haas, and they have models you can download. I didn't know that, so I actually went through
right on the website
and measure the machines and built rough models. I didn't get crazy with it. But yeah, drew up the offices, the room. I actually could have got more detailed with the shop space, like the girders and stuff. It's a red iron building, so
Okay.
but that's a good way to do it if you have CAD software. 3D printing's not a bad way because it's just a little more visual, a little quicker to be able to move it if you have that ability and the time. One of the biggest considerations as far as just the shop layout is and you hit on it, was if it makes sense for your work to group machines together in a certain way, do that. At my last job, we had 2 cells, which were a lathe here, and a mill here. And at least with Haas, I don't know about Doosan, the chip conveyor and chip auger would run together, so you could have one chip bin for both machines, and that that saves you a little bit of time, if that makes sense for the kind of work you do. If you don't do a lot of lathe to mill work or that kind of thing,
Yeah.
may not make sense. Or on the other hand, I interviewed at a shop a couple years ago where they had a lot. For me, they had a lot of machines. They probably had 25 machines, and they were all mostly mills, and they were all lined up. Like if your wall is vertical, all the machines were slightly angled away from the wall and staggered, like so. That way, for a couple of things, I mean, it does allow you to save some space because you don't have to have as much space between them. Because, I mean, ideally, you need 3 feet all the way around a machine at least. But then if you're doing the kind of work where, you're running stuff outside of the side windows, you don't have to, if your machines are straight with each other, you could run into an issue where your part here is running into this machine. Lathe, same way. If you're running long stuff in a lathe or you have a bar feeder, it can help. In your mind, as a machinist, you want things to be square, unless you're a lathe guy.
Of course.
So, right. Those
Weirdos.
But it a lot of times, like, I mean, even something as simple as a Bridgeport, don't put it, straight with a wall. Like you could even put it in a corner at 45 to the walls, and you actually maximize your space that way.
Yeah, we did the same thing with the Bridgeport. Basically back it into a corner. That way you're not taking up as much floor space. No, I've always liked the idea of doing machines that were all basically at an angle but parallel to each other. Well, I guess they're all in relation to like the back wall of the shop. They would all be diagonal to the wall.
Yep.
But I would like to have chip hoppers all towards like the center of the shops and just have an aisle right down the middle of the shop for forklifts. And so a forklift could come in, grab your chip hopper, go dump it, and bring it right back. And you're not dumping chip bins manually or anything.
Yep.
And you could have a decent sized chip hopper so they don't fill up so fast.
That's how that shop that I interviewed at was. I mean, they had 2 rows of mills, probably 8 or 10 in each row, and that's how they were. They had probably 10 feet between them, and they were all, as far as front to front, but they were all at an angle. So yeah, you could get a forklift down there. They probably had to shuffle some things around, a little bit, but it's as simple as just if you have a wheeled pallet cart, just wheel it towards your machine. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think another tip for a machine shop in tight spaces is store vertically as best as you can. Even with toolboxes, right? Like everybody likes to go just get some Husky toolboxes or whatever for the shop. We still do the same thing, but for like storing all your end mills and all your cutting tools, drills, all that stuff, you can spring for it or find one on Facebook Marketplace, auction, whatever it is. Get like Champion Tool Storage or what are the other brands?
Lista.
Those, the Lista boxes. I mean, you're talking about drawers that are an inch thick or an inch deep or inch and a half deep. So you can just fit, none of your cutting tools are that big typically. So you can fit a ton of stuff in one drawer. Then you got another drawer right there underneath it versus getting those Husky boxes where you've got a 3-4 inch deep drawer and you store everything in there, takes up the whole drawer, but then like you feel like your whole box is filled up pretty quick. So
that's what was always nice about. I know people knock on the Kennedy toolboxes.
Yeah.
They always had the shallow drawers.
Right.
That was always, you can have a drawer with your calipers and it wasn't 3 inches deep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Definitely.
But yeah, that would be another one as well. And then kind of figure out how like high density storage pretty much anywhere you can. Same thing with tool holders. Try to stack those on racks one above the other instead of having like those carts sitting around,
Yeah, I got 3 of them carts and they're getting really annoying.
Right. They're always in the way. They take up space, So if you can set up some sort of cabinet or some sort of rack and just have, complete shelves full of those tool holders.
Yep.
One, it's all in one place all the time. So it's always, you're like, oh wait, shit, that cart's over there. I got to go over there and get it. But it's always right there in the same spot, and then they're all stacked right on top of each other, so you're not moving out, you're moving up.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's always helpful too. And get rid of junk you don't need.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, once a year, 5S your shop, go through. If you haven't used this in a year, evaluate, do you need it or not?
Yeah, evaluate. Yeah,
Pat,
just
I got
have
I got a
need.
VF too. I don't
Oh.
use very often.
Oh yeah. Here in let's see, installation's gonna be June 16th or 18th. So yeah, sometime in July, maybe I can take it off your hands.
You want a Bridgeport Easy Track too? 3-axis?
No.
Yeah, I can do that too. I'll even
Look,
throw in a forklift that'll pick up the machines.
dang. How long it
Dang,
take to drive that down here?
I'm not driving it down there, Pat. Pat won't cross state lines.
Oh man. I mean, you're the one with the smallest shop, Brad. I mean, what do you think?
I think Cam, he had a great idea there. Model it out. I come in here every day, and I think I have 2 big ass forklifts because I like to move shit around. So I'm just kind of just winging it when I move stuff around. But I stand in here some days and think like, God, I've had people ask me, do you got room for another machine? Like, I got 4 machines in here now. Well, Bridgeport 2, 5, but I mean, I could probably double my capacity if I tighten things up. And I see people on Instagram that got machines that are so close, and I'm like, that would drive me nuts.
Yeah,
I really like to be able to get my forklift in front of every machine, and I don't like blocking my garage doors. So I kind of have everything configured to where if I do have a large piece of material, I can get a forklift in front of each machine, load it, and get it out without having to worry about shit. And then my doors, I can open them and I can get in and out of all of my doors.
yeah. Another thing you can do whenever you're modeling the shop is basically sketch out the walkways or pathways for forklift, and then just extrude that surface like 1,000th on your model, so you get a new face, and then paint it a different color,
Yep.
and so it's obvious where you want your walkways to be.
Good idea.
Because you got to think about the flow of things too. You can't just say, okay, well, it all fits decently doing it this way, but then you have like a chip basket dumping on the wall,
Yep.
right? And so then it's a huge pain in the ass, which one of our machines is that way, but we were just tapped on options. Like we didn't really have another way to do it. So you've got to drag your chip basket through everybody's work area between 2 machines and like maneuver around their carts and shit where they're working in order to get it, past another like pinch point and then get it out to the open area of the shop so you can get it out to the hopper that's by the door,
Yep.
And so now we didn't have any other options, so we had to deal with it. But
Well, that's another thing too to keep in mind. I mean, other than machines, I mean, almost everything can go on wheels. At my last job, I mean, matter of fact, that same chip hopper that the DS30Y lathe and the VF1 mill shared a big chip hopper, a dump type hopper, and you really couldn't get to it with a forklift all that easily, just because those machines were here and then the VF4 was here, and there just wasn't quite enough space to get the forklift in there to turn and get into it. So we put the chip hopper on a wheeled platform. You could actually pull it out. It was not easy, don't get me wrong, especially when it's full of gravel, like Luke likes to say. But you could pull it out and then turn it, and now you just get the forklift right in there straight.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that's another good tip. Put everything on wheels, especially when you're in a type shop, because you never know whenever you got like some weird job you're doing, and maybe it's like some big castings or something stupid, and you can't fit it through the area. You're like, oh well, let me just slide this toolbox out of the way. I especially like it for when you're going to clean, like when you want to do a deep clean, you can just wheel. Like we can take everything in our shop that's not a machine and not our tool storage rack, and move it to one end of the shop in a matter of a few minutes.
Yep.
And then you can go through, sweep it all. We've got one of those floor cleaners, like they had it, like in elementary or high school or whatever, like those, or like Walmart. Got it from Uline. It's like a battery powered deal. So you just grab it and go floor clean the whole shop.
I worked at a shop a while back, and he would put wheels on everything. And at the time, I was like, "You're so fucking weird. Like, why are you putting wheels on this?"
Yeah.
And then when I built my building, and I ordered some vertical racks, I'm like, I need to put wheels on these. It'd be so nice to move them around. So I got wheels on everything now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That goes a long way. It keeps your options open, because
it does.
that was the thing for us. I mean, I can't remember the last time at Galleons that we did a big layout change. I think it was like 2018 maybe, or early 2019. And at the time it worked. One of the reasons we put lathes and mills together was we were doing a lot of that kind of work. But like after a year, all that work fell off, and then it didn't make as much sense. There were more times where it's like, well, it'd be nice if we had two mills together. So this is a bit of a tall order, but I mean, most machine shops need a forklift anyway. Might not be a bad idea to have enough capability to move your own machines. Maybe not something huge like Brad's horizontal. That's one thing, but
it is nice to be able to move my machines. I can pick them up and move them.
Mhm.
I've moved my horizontal not far, but I can move it if I need to.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good capability to have. If you can find a forklift, like that's not something we're going to spend, 50, 100 grand on a forklift that's capable of doing it. Like we're not going to go buy one that can do it, but if you come across one at auction for 5 grand or something, I'd say it's worth it.
Yeah.
Even if you're going to use it 2-3 times a year.
Yeah, I got two. I end up with two forklifts. I can pick 16,000 pounds up.
Yeah.
When I bought my
Oh my God.
What?
60? You say 60,000?
16.
16. Still, I was about to say what?
When I actually bought my SL20 at auction, my lathe, I ordered a courier, a flatbed courier to go pick it up. So they went up to Machines Used and they load it for free. So I paid this courier company a flatbed $250 to deliver this machine to me, and I just picked it up off the truck and brought it in myself.
See, that right there is worth it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, if I would have had to hire a company to go pick it up and bring it here, it would have been like $3 grand.
I was going to say, I mean, riggers are expensive.
Yes.
There's no way around it.
Now that you say that, I don't know, because some of our machines are stupid heavy. I was gonna say, so I've talked about how we got to get machines to our shop before.
Yeah.
Right. Like a flatbed semi, we have to block the street at the bottom of the hill, unload them, load it onto a rollback, a tandem axle rollback, and then they drive it up to the shop, and then they drive the forklifts up here and then unload it and everything. But I mean, I think our two smaller mills and our small lathe, that's definitely feasible. But our bridge mill, I want to say, is over 20,000 pounds. And then I think our big mill is close to 30, as well as our big lathe, if I remember right. I mean, they're heavy machines.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's not that worth it.
No. I mean, my horizontal, I've only moved it like across the shop. I put one side on skates and then I picked up the other and I pushed it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could just pick it up and move it.
You know what I've seen somebody do for that instead of skates? Put pads of UHMW underneath.
Oh, yeah?
And you just slide it.
Oh, I should try that.
Oh, wow. Finally, a good use for UHMW.
Right? That's the only one.
Well,
we'll get on to another question.
Yeah, we'll do this one from our friend Luke, Crusader Machining. Speaking of, be sure to check out the Lathe Lab here on Practical Machinist. It's his series about lathe stuff.
Yep.
And he's going to be our next guest, matter of fact. So
that's right.
He was asking, hardest job you've ran and why? Like real headaches.
I already shared mine today.
I was thinking
that one.
Is that the hardest job you've ran or the biggest headache you've had?
Ooh.
Because there's no way those are the hardest parts you've ran.
No, they're not the hardest parts. No. Just the biggest headache. Hardest?
Right.
I don't know. I had to think about that.
I'm trying to think the hardest thing I've ever done. It's probably...
Didn't we just have this question?
I feel like we might have.
Because I talked about the ceramic parts.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say I don't think I had a good answer for it. And I still don't really have a great answer, but I would say the hardest part that I've made would be something that's not hard at all now. But when I was new, it completely kicked my ass, which was just about every part that I programmed in the beginning.
I'll say the hardest part I've ever been a part of. I'll put it like that. I didn't make it start to finish. We at my last job we used to make these parts. I don't even remember what they were called actually. They were a part for a Japanese company. So they were probably called something like a pin. They name things pretty simply over there. But man, it was a nightmare because if I remember right, the parts were 303 stainless or 304 stainless. And they had quite a bit of stuff going on with them. They had tight holes, reamed holes, but they called for a lot of really fine finishes, cylindricity, perpendicularity, just GD&T out the wazoo. Tenth tolerances all over the place, and they usually ordered 3 or 4 of them at a time. And of course, it was a Japanese print from the 90s. So, and it'd been scanned 15 times and faxed 30 times and so on and so forth. You could hardly even read it.
Sounds like half of our prints.
I
Just
know,
American.
yeah. And man, but it was amazing because those parts basically ran across every machine that we had except for like the heat treat oven. And I don't think we even surface ground them. And some of that was because, I mean, I've said it before, the owner there was very old school. He did a lot of grinding. He was a grinding guy for years. But, they'd start on the CNC lathe, then go to the 4th axis mill, then they'd go to the Bridgeport for some end work, then they'd go to the cylindrical grinder, jig grinder, surface grinder, and then they were finally done.
Cam, you got a hard part now? Hard job?
I'm terrible at remembering those things. I don't know what it is. I just mentally block stuff out like that. And what's funny is I'll look back at stuff like that. I can look back at something where while I was doing it, I was like, God, this fucking sucks. Whatever. But I look back at it, I'm like, I don't know. It wasn't that bad.
No, I'm the same way. I look back and I was like, it wasn't that bad. Most of the time, it's you got a customer on your ass about a lead time, so you're trying to rush it. And if you didn't have to rush it, it wouldn't have been that bad.
Yeah.
Or maybe a tooling didn't show up when it was supposed to show up, or something dumb like that. That's what makes it hard.
I'll say typically the making a part, regardless of what it is that we usually make, obviously there's parts out there that are just hard no matter what you do. Typically, it's not hard until you screw up and you try to save it.
Yep.
That's the part where you're really sweating, and then you're like, damn, now I've got with how tolerances are stacked and stuff, I literally have 1,000th to work in everything, and those are whenever it gets kind of difficult.
Yeah.
That or maybe it's not hard, it takes some finesse, but our big lathe doesn't have thermal comp, so you'll be trying to hold a 20 and a half inch fit that's +1 minus nothing, and measure that with mics in the machine. And again, it's not a hard part, but you just want to throw the mics across the shop when you're using them. You're like, I don't fucking know if I'm right or not.
Right.
Those things look so easy.
Yeah.
Then you get done, you put on the CMM, and you're like, oh, cool. So I'm 3/10 under. Great.
All right, Brad, you want to pick one out?
Oh, sure. Let's just do this one. I always like these questions. Roll can motor. Machinists need to, as a group, stop accepting low rates offered by online manufacturing services. I like these questions because I get it, but you also don't know another shop's overhead. You don't know their rates. You don't know if you're competing against somebody that has no overhead. They might be able to do a job for $100 an hour and you need 300. That's not their problem. That's your problem. I mean, I've shared this. I don't owe anything on my machines, my building, nothing. I have no overhead. So if it comes down to it and I'm slow and you have $10,000 a month you got to pay in machine payments and you have to hit $400 an hour, that's not my fault. If I need the job and I want to come in at $100 an hour, I'm going to do it because I need the work.
Right.
I mean, you can't, and a lot of times, I mean, we're an industry that quotes across the country, across the globe. We're not a plumber where you're quoting against two companies that are within a mile of each other. I might be quoting against somebody in California where your cost of living is 4 times as much as mine.
Mm-hmm. That's the bad part. And I think where a lot of people get frustrated with the comparatively low wages in the trade is that same thing. I mean, the aspect of machining, unfortunately, is easily outsourced to cheaper places. So it makes it hard to justify paying a machinist what we would be making now compared to what machinists made like in the 90s, for example.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a good point. And like you said, I mean, here's a good example. Our overhead is a little high, just because of how the business is structured. At my last job, it was pretty high. So our shop rate is fairly high, and that does make it hard to get certain kinds of work. So obviously ways to combat that are try to minimize your overhead, but at the same time, the flip side of that, if a lot of your overhead is in machine payments, you should be able to turn work faster in theory, which means because that means you've got the fancy 5-axis or the live tool lathe or the mill turn or whatever, versus a guy that has, basic machinery, 3-axis mills, 2-axis lathes, whatever. So there should be a balance there somewhere, but that's just what sets everybody apart as a business.
Well, yeah. And the other thing on top of that too is you don't know who you're quoted against. If you're quoting against me or let's just say the three of us are quoting a job, and for whatever reason, I see that job and I can do it in 3 hours, but one of you guys quoted at 5, one of you guys quoted at 8. It doesn't mean I undercut you or I'm cheaper than you. It's just my process is better. Not necessarily better. My process is faster. I might have a machine set up for that where I don't even have to do a setup for it. I can just throw it on my horizontal and let it run overnight, where you guys might be confined to daytime hours, where I'm looking at, this is going to run from 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock tonight. I'm not going to be here. I don't care if I get $100 an hour or 200.
Yeah.
Or if you bid it at 3 hours, you underbid the job, and then you got to eat it.
Yep. Yeah.
That's the other thing. I mean, we bid stuff. We're guessing our best guess.
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah. And he specifically said online manufacturing services.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get frustrated whenever they're trying to break into those markets.
Yep.
Break into those systems. Because it seems like it's pretty dog eat dog until you really get established in a lot of those places.
Oh yeah.
So honestly, I mean, I don't have any experience with any of the online, sourcing companies, but we pretty much deal directly with customer. Well, actually, not pretty much. We do deal directly with customer on everything, and I think those relationships are what's going to help get you more work.
Mm-hmm.
Your relationships and your reputation. Obviously, you can do really well in like Xometry or something like that, but whenever you have people who, you deliver on time, it's always in tolerance, it's good quality, the parts look better than they expect, and you have, good rapport with each other, they're going to want to keep coming to you.
Yep.
It can get to the point where they don't even quote against anybody else. They're just like, "Hey,
Yeah.
can you maybe make this? Just shoot me a quote, and then we'll talk about it."
Yeah. And I think to an extent you can get to that point with some of these online companies like Xometry. I do very well with Xometry. I've been doing work for them for a long time now. But I have people that call me, "Hey, can you quote this job?" It doesn't go on the job board. I quote it direct. I've got a relationship with, there's one guy I text with him for the last 5 years, almost daily. He'll push jobs my way. But you almost have to prove yourself on some of these sites that you can handle it, because I think there was a time a few years ago that they got an increase of people that have low-end machines that are just running one machine in the garage in the weekends, taking on these massive jobs that they can't handle. And now I would like to say they built kind of a tier system that you're forced to prove yourself that you can handle the high-end work.
Yeah.
Everything I do for them is aerospace. It's companies that I probably wouldn't be able to get into on my own, but I can through them. But a guy that's got, I don't know, a Bridgeport in his garage can't do that work. And 4 years ago, he hopped on there and took the work thinking he could do it, and fuck them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. There's so many. It's like everything in machining.
It depends.
And a lot of people think a company like Xometry is something new. Sourcing companies have been around for decades. It's not new. I have another sourcing company I use local to me. They function a little different. I pay them a flat rate percentage, but I work direct with the customers. I quote them direct. Once I get the job, they'll send me the PO. I'll do the job. They'll pay me. Once I get paid from them, I cut them. I think it's like 3% or something. I just cut them a check for 3%.
Which, I mean, honestly, seems like a pretty good deal because you likely wouldn't have had to work otherwise.
I mean, they got me into Medtronic,
Right.
so
Yeah. And I mean, if you're already slammed to gills with work, then maybe it doesn't make sense to go with the sourcing company. But
Yeah.
if you're actively looking for work, those guys know the people who need the work.
Yep.
That's a
And
no-brainer.
it saves you from actually having to go beat on doors and make phone calls and find the work. So that means you can actually do the work.
And I really don't care who's paying me as long as I'm getting paid. I don't care whose name's on the payment. Doesn't
Right.
matter if it's Medtronic, Xometry, whoever's paying.
I think we can hit all these if we're brief.
How about Langerman Machine? He asked, how has the podcast changed your life so far, business and personally? I would say not a significant amount. However, there have been cool perks that came from it,
Yeah.
One thing is, I guess the networking of it, which honestly, the networking of it is really just a cool factor. Getting to meet people like Ian and hang out with him, like that sort of thing, and all the other people with Practical Machinist. That's cool. But as far as business goes, it's not like I'm getting a bunch more work out of, or any work at all, really, out of, being part of Practical Machinist or doing the podcast. Really, what I like the most about it is talking with all the people who listen. People are more likely to message me about things, or like they'll listen to the podcast and then they'll be like, "Hey, you were asking this question on there. I know, like, you can use this product, or you can do things this way, or I know this guy who knows all the answers, whatever." And then being able to help people answer their questions. I like that. But I mean, really, it hasn't. My life has not changed significantly at all by doing a podcast. I'm still literally just a dude who runs a machine shop, and then we sit down every other week and record, and then that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
not glamorous. If you're expecting it to be glamorous, that's not what it is. Just dudes
what do you
making-
mean you don't walk out of the restaurant and there's like a red carpet waiting for you and flags everywhere?
Yeah, 0 people know who I am right here, and I've lived here for 5 years, so a podcast ain't gonna do it. Not machining one.
I'll say it has made a few changes for me just in my I guess my personality a bit. It's helped open me up some.
And Pat was forced to find a new job.
Yeah,
It did
Pressured.
kind of help. Yeah, it did kind of help push me in that direction, for sure. And now, I mean, just having the ability to kind of share my experience and learn at the same time from you guys and people that comment has been great. And just, I don't know, getting together with you guys and just talking about things has kind of helped me become more confident as a person, I guess. So that's been nice. And like Cam said, I mean, working with Practical Machinists has been nice. There's been some interesting opportunities that's come up that I wouldn't have otherwise. Allows me to get to know a couple people better. I mean, I haven't been to events with the others like you guys have.
Pat's afraid to travel. He can't cross state lines.
he's actually
He's in
really. He's got an ankle break. He's got an ankle bracelet. What it is. An ankle monitor. He's on rest.
He's planning on never getting a real ID or a passport, so he's never going to travel.
Yeah. So everybody fucking blazing for it.
Well,
everybody tell Pat you want to see him at IMTS in 2026.
Okay. That, mark my words, that will happen.
I don't know.
I mean,
Will
it depends. But no.
Depends on his garden.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's got
if my house build's not done by then, I'm just going to jump off a bridge. Back to the question, you silly billies. No, it's it has been nice. And I'm looking forward to continuing to do it. I think in July will be 1 year that the podcast has been out. So that might be interesting. We might have to do something special for that.
What episode do you think will be at that point?
I don't think we'll be at 30 yet. We might be at like 27.
Or we're going to do a giveaway too.
Yeah, we do. We do have that in the works. Yep.
Stay tuned.
What about you, Brad?
Traveled a few places: Cleveland, Massachusetts, IMTS. It's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Meeting people I probably have never met before. And I mean, really, I guess, being introduced to other things in the industry, different tooling that I may have never found.
That's traveling is another one. I haven't really traveled because of anything related to the podcast or practical machinist stuff yet. I went to IMTS, but I was already going anyways. But I know that there are going to be opportunities in the future to do that. So looking forward to that part.
Oh, yeah. All right. We'll probably get to some of these other questions another time. But thank you all for the questions. We'll make sure to come back to these at some point. Our new segment that we're going to be doing at the end of each episode, is one of us is going to share our tip of the week. We'll probably come up with some kind of snazzy name for it, hopefully. But Brad's going to offer his up first.
Time management. I seem to lose a lot of time when sales reps walk in the door. Lock your doors so they can't come in. Don't answer when they knock on it.
It's a pro machining tip from Brad.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. I can't stand it.
They come in and it's just like they talk and talk and talk, and it's like,
yeah,
all right, cool. I get caught up in it too. But sometimes it's like, man, I just wasted an hour, right? I need to get shit done.
Yeah. Even the guy that cuts our grass will do that.
Really?
I got to cut him off. Like, I'll catch him over there talking to an employee and be like, "Hey, we're busy, man. Go cut the grass. We got work to do."
I got a couple of sales reps I don't mind, but there's a few where my camera will go off and I'll look and I'm like, nope, not today. And I'll go make sure the door is locked. And I can see out, but you can't see in. So I can stand there and watch them try to open the door. It's like, go away.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple guys where if they show up, I'm good with it. I'm going to talk to them, say, hey, because I care. But most of the other sales guys that show up, just leave. Go away.
If I haven't found you, I don't need you.
Exactly. It's like they have to justify the amount of time they drove by talking a certain amount of time. Like, for every hour I drove, I got to talk for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, that's a good one. And if you lock your doors, you won't get any walk-ins either.
Nope. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Add that to the tip. Lock the doors for walk-ins. Lock them out.
Say no to walk-ins. No
Unless you got your snowmobile part that you can wait 3 months for, I don't mind it. But if you come in and bring me something in and you want it tomorrow and you think I'm going to...
3 months is generous.
Yeah, right.
We're talking 6 at least. By the time I've got to forget about it and remember it at least 5 times before I actually do it.
I got to forget what the fuck that thing is sitting on my bench and be like, what is this thing? What did I make this for?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one, Brad.
Yeah, another good one is put your shop up on a hill away from the road like we did.
Yeah.
And how would you even word this? Don't have a shop where the owner is like 150 years old and he knows every farmer in a 30-mile radius. All right, then. That's all for this episode of the Impractical Machinist podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the Practical Machinist YouTube channel so you never miss an episode.
Also, give us a like or a 5-star rating if you enjoyed the episode. Drop a comment down below of what you learned from us or to share your own experience. And spread the word to your fellow machinists. Let them know about us.
If you have any follow-up questions, you can DM any of us on Instagram, the Practical Machinist Forum, or on the Discord in our Instagram bios. Go check that out. We don't share enough, but in my bio, you can click. Do you guys have it near the Discord link?
Yep,
I do.
Click on it, join. Check out our Instagrams at JobShopperTN, at Machinist and Marvel Machining. Also, be sure to go register for the Kennemetal giveaway that Practical Machinist is doing.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Keep those chips flying.